Chapter 911, Contest of Dream Realm. Chapter 911, Contest of Dream Realm. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. About 600,000 ordinary dragonfish, and a desolate beast dragonfish. Feng Yuan flew rapidly while calculating the profits in his immortal aperture. The first move he made after coming in this starry sky grotto heaven fragment world gave him a huge harvest. The only blemish was a lot of ordinary dragonfish had died. Because of the desolate beast dragonfish's rampage, many ordinary dragonfish that normally surrounded the desolate beast dragonfish died miserably. Otherwise, Feng Yuan's gains would be even greater. Regardless, Feng Yuan was satisfied. Back then at Dongfang tribe's headquarters, he only gained around 900,000 ordinary dragonfish and a desolate beast dragonfish. His current gains already were over half of this. If these were to be added to Hu Immortal Blessed Land's Dragon Scale Lake, its size would not be enough to contain these dragonfish. When the truth of the collapse of 88 True Yang Building comes to light, I must abandon Hu Immortal Blessed Land, so there is no need to expand the Dragon Scale Lake. It seems when I return after this, I must remodel Star Form Blessed Land to raise these dragonfish. Feng Yuan was looking around his surroundings as he pondered. He had unlimited primeval essence and also had countless investigative mortal killer moves. There was even a recently obtained investigative immortal killer move, Star Premonition. Thus, he was not worried that he would miss any good things on his way. However, Feng Yuan did not find many opportunities to take action. When Starry Sky Grotto Heaven was intact, it was already looted repeatedly by Combat Immortal Sect. Now, among the remaining resources, those that could interest Feng Yuan were already very few. Moreover, he had to hand over 2/3 of all the gains he made in this trip to Immortal Crane Sect, while he himself could only obtain 1/3. This greatly impacted Feng Yuan's enthusiasm. The 10 ancient sects sent the disciples to compete for various resources inside within a limited time, 7 days and 7 nights. After this time passes, the resources occupied inside will be divided up. Next would be time for the 10 ancient sects to plunder and develop the resources by themselves. This has nothing to do with me. So now, I only need to get the desolate beast dragonfish, hidden essence turtle and that nether grass. Most of my energy and time should be used to search for that dream realm in the central region. When he thought of the dream realm, Feng Yuan's gaze shined and a fire burned inside him. Before leaving, Feng Yang had reminded Feng Yuan to occupy the central region as early as possible. In the center of this fragment world was an external manifestation of a dream realm. As it involved the prophecy of Great Dream Immortal Venerable, the 10 great ancient sects had already begun researching. Moreover, Feng Jin Huang possessed Dream Wings Immortal Gu, which allowed Spirit Affinity House to firmly occupy the leading position. More importantly, this dream realm had a huge origin. It was Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. Immortal Crane Sect's research of dream realms might be completely behind Spirit Affinity House, but as long as they were able to seize this dream realm, they could contain Spirit Affinity House's momentum, and could rely on this dream realm to make terms and exchange benefits with Spirit Affinity House. In the entire fragment world, the most precious resource was not desolate beasts or desolate plants, instead it was this small external manifestation of a dream realm. Thus, before they parted, Feng Yang specially reminded Feng Yuan of this matter. But how could he know the excitement inside Feng Yuan? Feng Yuan might not be like Feng Jin Huang with Dream Path Immortal Gu, but he had a Wisdom Path Immortal Gu, Unravel Mystery, and the Dream Path Killer move formed with it as the basis, Unravel Dream. Feng Yang inviting Feng Yuan to represent Immortal Crane Sect was simply like opening the door to a thief or bringing a weasel to a chicken coop. Immortal Crane Sect does not have enough strength, they had decided to send me now, but this was met with strong resistance from the other 9 sections. In the end, although Immortal Crane Sect got what they wished, my entry time was far later than the other 9 sections. I must hurry and occupy the central region. After all, undue delay may bring trouble. Capturing the dragonfish was only done casually on his way. The most important matter was still the external manifestation of the dream realm in the central region. However, when Fang Yuan reached his destination, someone was already there. Fang Yuan, I have been waiting for quite a while. Feng Jin Huang led 4 other Gu masters of Spirit Affinity House to protect the magnificent dream realm behind them. She looked at this trip's strongest competitor. Her skin was snow white, her appearance as pretty as a painting, her smile was beautiful and she looked extremely confident. Fang Yuan was not anxious, as he replied with a smile as well, according to the rules set by the 10 great sects, for your Spirit Affinity House to completely occupy this area, you need to face the challenges from other sections. Only after winning 2 out of 3 challenges can you strip away the opponent's right to occupy this area. The 10 great ancient sects were famous righteous sects of Central Continent, but they also had the same origin, Heavenly Court. Thus, although they were competing, it was not a cruel slaughter like that of the demonic path, and was much gentler. Feng Jin Huang shook her head, although I have immortal Gu and immortal essence that Mother placed on me, I cannot defeat you. I waited for you to do a transaction. Oh. Fang Yuan's brows raised as he said, coldly, you want to do a transaction with me again? Last time, you scammed me quite heavily at the Refinement Path convention. The method you gave me for getting rid of the immortal zombie status was actually an ascension of the 10 extreme physiques. You still want to do another transaction? Feng Jin Huang quickly replied, this transaction will be mutually beneficial, Fang Yuan, you have also taken quite a lot of benefits from my Spirit Affinity House. You can rest assured that I won't let you suffer losses in this transaction. Alright, then speak. Fang Yuan nodded. Feng Jin Huang immediately gave a suggestion of what to trade, it was actually another method to get rid of the immortal zombie status. She had completely seen through Fang Yuan's weak point, and did not let go of it. After confirming that Feng Jin Huang's method was not what he already had, Fang Yuan agreed to this transaction. Like Feng Jin Huang said, this transaction was mutually beneficial, having benefits to both sides. And if there were benefits, Fang Yuan would naturally take it. Shortly afterwards, Fang Yuan obtained a completely new method of getting rid of the immortal zombie state and reviving. This was a transformation path method. According to Feng Jin Huang's words, Fang Yuan would have to cultivate transformation path and use a transformation path killer move to transform himself into a normal Gu immortal. Then, he could use everlasting immortal Gu to make this transformation fixed and unchangeable. Like this, he could get rid of the immortal zombie status. This was indeed a practical thought. Because a lot of Gu masters or Gu immortals in their cultivation journeys would face an awkward and tragic situation of not being able to go back to their original shape after transforming too many times. And this method was the exact opposite, it thoroughly finalized the transformation. As for this dream realm, it would be occupied by Fang Yuan. But Feng Jin Huang had 3 days to explore this external manifestation of a dream realm. 3 days later, she had to leave this area. This is a dream realm's external manifestation. Fang Yuan mumbled as he looked ahead of him, as if this was the first time he had seen it, his expression was serious, curious and his gaze revealing some greed and fervent passion. Every external manifestation of dream realm had a wonderfully beautiful appearance. This dream realm that was displayed in front of them was like a condensed star cloud, with dark purple light shining in the periphery and countless stars inside. The whole dream realm gave off a profound, mysterious aura, and also gave indications of danger. Feng Jin Huang looked on at Fang Yuan's eager expression, coldly snorting inwardly with satisfaction. She had seen this kind of expression many times. Dream realms are good, but it is a pity you don't have dream wings immortal Gu. This enormous benefit is placed right beside your mouth, but you can't eat it. Maybe in your whole life, you won't understand that feeling of exploring a dream realm. Ah, there is also the huge advancement after a smooth exploration. Feng Jin Huang did not remind Fang Yuan, if Fang Yuan died in star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm, it would be much more beneficial for her. However, she knew that it was not likely to happen. Since Immortal Crane's sect sent Fang Yuan, they would have reminded him of the dangers of the dream realm. Sure enough, Feng Jin Huang waited for a while but only saw Fang Yuan standing on the spot without moving forward, although he had a longing look on his face, he did not take a step beyond the limit. Feng Jinhuang snorted inwardly before turning towards the other 4 Gu masters. 3 days is a limited span of time, I need to explore this dream realm immediately. All of you, protect my physical body, don't make any mistakes. The Gu masters quickly replied, we will use up all our strength, and even if we die, we will protect you to the end. Lady Feng Jinhuang, you can enter at ease. If the situation is urgent, we will immediately awaken you. Feng Jinhuang nodded, and stepped towards the dream realm. When she was still 20 or so steps away from the dream realm, she had reached her limit. With her current ability, she still could not completely throw herself into the dream realm. She gave a last look at the distant Feng Yuan. Before slowly sitting down cross-legged on the ground, she closed her eyes and activated Dream Wings Immortal Gu, falling into a deep sleep. As far as Feng Jinhuang was concerned, the greatest threat to her was the immortal zombie Feng Yuan. Were Feng Yuan to act against her, those rank 5 Gu masters of Spirit Affinity House would simply be incapable of resisting him. Thus, Feng Jinhuang did not completely rely on these 4 Gu masters. What she placed confidence in was the immortal Gu and abundant immortal essence her mother, Fairy Bai Qing, had placed with her. Dream Wings Immortal Gu. Feng Yuan looked at Feng Jinhuang with envy. Dream Wings Immortal Gu could let the user fall into a deep sleep at any time, and attach dream wings to their soul, letting them roam freely in dream realms, allowing them to advance or retreat freely, guaranteeing their safety. Compared to Dream Travel Immortal Gu, Dream Wings Immortal Gu had an advantage. It did not require immortal essence to be activated, thus it was the most suitable for cultivators like Feng Jinhuang who had yet to become Gu immortals. Feng Yuan already had thoughts of taking action. But killing Feng Jinhuang and seizing Dream Wings Immortal Gu was not a practical idea. Seizing Immortal Gu by itself was an extremely difficult matter. And killing Feng Jinhuang was also not easy. Even an idiot would know Feng Jinhuang certainly had large numbers of life protection methods on her. Most importantly, the current situation had yet to turn to a critical state, there was still space to scheme. Feng Yuan was not a retard, he would not make such a huge mistake. This Feng Jinhuang is maturing rapidly. First was the transaction, she handed over all the control of this dream realm to me of her own accord, turning me into a shield, to block other competitors in her place, while she uses Dream Wings Immortal Gu to wantonly explore the dream realm and plunder benefits. Next, when she saw me have a desire to explore, she did not give me any reminders, waiting to see me make a fool of myself. However, regardless of how talented you are, you would not think that I possess the killer move Unravel Dream. Feng Yuan sneered as he let out the desolate beast shark fin wolf from his immortal aperture. This desolate beast wolf had been violently subdued by him through flicking its penis. For this exploration of the fragment world, Feng Yuan had already taken it out from Hu Immortal Blessed Land and brought it with him. The moment they saw the desolate beast, Spirit Affinity House's 4 Gu masters were tongue-tied with shock, they were even about to awaken Feng Jinhuang. It was Feng Yuan who reminded them, no need to be anxious, this desolate beast will look after this place. 3 days later, if all of you have not left, it will eat you alive. With this warning, Feng Yuan flew to the sky, quickly leaving the vision of the Gu Masters of Spirit Affinity House. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know in report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 912, Beastman. Chapter 912, Beastman. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Feng Yuan landed after flying far away. He took out a large batch of rock men from his immortal aperture. Be it in Hu Immortal Blessed Land or Star Form Blessed Land, he raised batches of rock men. Feng Yuan took half of them and brought them along. Right now, he let them out to be used as helpers. We greet Lord Immortal. The rock men saw Feng Yuan and paid respects. Feng Yuan responded with a grunt, his expression was cold and he appeared high and mighty, above the masses. He gave these rock men instructions to collect resources before leaving, concealing his figure and returning to the dream realm. These rock men were elites, there were many goo worms on their bodies. These were all specially arranged by Fang Yuan. These rock men were all armed by Fang Yuan, their battle strength were greatly raised, because they moved in groups of 10, even if they encountered groups from other sects, Fang Yuan was not worried that the rock men would lose. Or rather, even if the rock men lost, Fang Yuan would not feel loss. This was only a facade. The manifested dream realm was like a small hill's size. Fang Yuan concealed his figure and carefully went to the back, entering the dream realm. Last time, Fang Yuan was inside the 8th star hall of Starry Sky Grotto Heaven. He was at the border of star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm and almost died. After detonating his bat wings, he managed to struggle his way out. This time, he went in purposely, because he had the killer move Unravel Dream. His power was much higher, times were different now. His vision changed. Fang Yuan entered star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. It was night. Fire was burning, rising to the sky. Countless brawny beast-men were surrounding a huge fire, dancing around it. Growl, growl, growl. Roar, roar, roar. Among these beast-men, some had faces of tigers and human bodies, they opened their mouths and growled angrily. Some had eagle beaks, they shrieked loudly. Some had a leopard's tail growing from their backs, they danced around and moved alongside the lingering shadows. This is, the beast-man race that got wiped out from existence during the Olden Antiquity era. Fang Yuan came back to awareness, he understood the origins of these beast-men. Beast-men were a type of variant human. During the remote Antiquity era, as well as the immemorial Antiquity era, they were one of the strongest variant human races in the world. Beast-men had incredible battle strength, they worshipped fierce beasts, and adopted their ferocity and ruthlessness. Especially when they could attract wild transformation path goo worms to live in them, allowing them to transform into a half-man half-beast state, they would gain a part of the fierce beast's abilities and strength. As time passed, humans began to rise up. During the remote Antiquity era, Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable appeared, leading humans to resist the rule of variant humans, establishing the authority of humans. By the Olden Antiquity era, 3 human demon venerables appeared, creating wars and exterminating the beast-men race, stabilizing the status of humans as the rulers. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was a rank 9 Gu immortal from the remote Antiquity era. At that time, humans were fighting with various variant humans, and were fighting to control the world. This is indeed Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan was slightly excited. He looked around, and found that he was a human boy in this dream. He was tied up by a rope, the other end of the rope was tightly tied to a tree trunk. There were over a dozen humans who were tied up like Fang Yuan, they were all young children. Oh no! Beast-men are bloodthirsty by nature, they were also known as the man-eating race. History states that the favorite food of beast-men are the flesh and blood of human children. Beast-men tribes all treat surrounding humans as food, they would go out to hunt occasionally. When they succeed in their hunts, they would hold a huge celebration by a bonfire. Fang Yuan sensed the dangerous situation, he struggled intensely, but the rope was getting tighter. His body had bloodstains because of the friction with the ropes, intense pain was assaulting his body. It is no use, the more you struggle, the more painful it gets. We are doomed, we are dead meat. Woo-woo. I don't want to be eaten. The surrounding human children saw that Fang Yuan was struggling, some advised him indifferently, while others cried in despair. Just as the bonfire celebration reached its climax, the beast-man leader shouted, "Come, bring up our most delectable food." Growl, growl, growl. The beast-men raised their heads, shouting. An elephant man who was 6 meters tall stood up from his sitting position. He stretched out his long and powerful trunk as he pulled up the entire tree that held the ropes that tied the children. The tree trunk was raised high in the air. The children who were tied up resembled tiny pearls as they screamed in fear, hanging in the air. The beast-men shouted again, the elephant man who had shown off his might laughed loudly, his trunk loosened and the tree trunk was slammed onto the ground. The children could not free themselves, they fell as well. Some unlucky children were crushed to death by the tree. An intense smell of blood spread out. Some beast men could not control their bloodthirsty desire, they jumped in and grabbed the children's corpses, putting them into their mouths. Delicious. Human children taste tender and delicious, ha ha ha. As they spoke, the beast men showed a sense of wildness and ruthlessness. The blazing bonfire crackled, the surrounding beast men stared excitedly with red, wide-open eyes, towards these lucky children who survived. Some were growling, some had uneven fangs, some stretched out their bright red tongues, they licked their lips as they drooled, the amber light of the fire was reflecting in their eyes. The children screamed out in fright, some had fainted on the spot. But Fang Yuan found that one girl was expressionless. Even though her body was shivering, and her expression was pale as paper, she bit her lips, she did not make a sound. Is it possible that she? Fang Yuan's heart jumped, he had a flash of inspiration. Before this inspiration was processed, the beast man leader walked towards Fang Yuan and the others with an intensely ferocious aura, he looked down arrogantly at these weak children. As the light flickered, lots of children watched with fearful gazes, the beast man leader had a black face and sharp fangs, he spoke slowly, according to the traditions of our tribe, those that can untie the wind not grass are people blessed by heaven, they can be spared from death. Those who fail to untie it, they can be honored to become the food of us noble beast men. The moment he said that, the beast man leader waved his tail. From the flickering light, a bright flash occurred. The ropes were cut, the human children obtained temporary freedom in movement. Wind not grass. Seeing the pile of dried grass that the beast men brought over, Fang Yuan was curious. The wind not grass was like a lantern, a round ball-shaped grass lantern, it was very rare to see in modern times. There was no wind not grass in the 5 regions, this was a type of grass only found in green heaven of the immemorial 9 heavens. Ren Zhu's 10 children destroyed the immemorial 9 heavens, causing fragments of immemorial green heaven to fall into the 5 regions. During star constellation Immortal Venerable's era, many fragment worlds of the immemorial 9 heavens fell into different areas of the 5 regions. The beast men worshipped the heavenly deities, their tribal belief was that whoever could untie the wind not grass was blessed by the heavens, they were precious beings that could not be harmed. That means, as long as I can untie the wind not grass, I can be spared from death. Fang Yuan's thoughts moved rapidly. He had turned into a child after entering this dream realm, he was not even 13 years old yet, his aperture was not awakened yet, he had no power. To free himself from this predicament, he could only follow the beast man rules and untie wind not grass alone. Even though he knew it was a dream realm, it was not favorable to die inside the dream. This meant he would be consumed by the dream realm. Each time he got consumed, even though he would not die, his soul would suffer a huge injury. If his soul got injured too often, it would get weak, when he reached his limits, his soul would break down and dissipate, even if his body was still around, he would die. This was the danger of exploring dream realms. Soon, each child received their wind not grass. Knowing that this was their only chance at survival, the children opened their eyes wide and used every second they had to try and untie the wind not grass. The surrounding beast men were laughing coldly or grinding their teeth, some were licking their lips or polishing their claws, they surrounded Fang Yuan's group and watched sinisterly. The human children were in the center, surrounded by countless savage beast men. Using the light of the bonfire, the children gathered their concentration and placed their efforts on the grass lanterns. Fang Yuan observed carefully. This type of grass lantern was made from all sorts of roots, leaves, and stems, they were intertwined together and formed into a mysterious ball. Only in immemorial green heaven would there be winds blowing all year around, at strange directions and angles. Countless plants would be uprooted or shaved until they were bare, these twigs would intertwine in the wind and slowly form into this ball-shaped grass lantern. Because time was limited, the surrounding children were trying to untie their wind not grass. Only Fang Yuan did not start immediately, this was the first time he was seeing the wind not grass, he was assessing it. His unique demeanor attracted the attention of the beast men, he even attracted the attention of Feng Jin Huang as well. Feng Jin Huang was also inside the dream realm, similar to Fang Yuan, she was also a child. Fang Yuan looked very calm and radiated with confidence, his body was covered in dirt and dust, his gender could not be discerned. Feng Jin Huang had a misunderstanding, what's going on with this child? Is she star constellation immortal venerable? Roar! Right at this moment, a tiger-headed beast man roared loudly with excitement. He grabbed a human boy rapidly and threw him into his mouth. Crack, crack. He opened his mouth and chewed, eating half of the boy in an instant. What are you looking at? He ruined a wind not grass, he had already failed. It is only natural for me to eat him. Looking at the surrounding unfriendly gazes, the tiger-headed beastman growled, there was the blood and flesh of the boy stuck in the middle of his teeth. With this stimulation, the surrounding beastmen were stirred up, their eyes shined with ruthlessness as they looked at the remaining children. Daddy, Daddy, where are you? Quickly come and save me. A girl broke down, she held the wind not grass as she cried loudly. Damn it, why is my wind not grass so hard to untie? No, I must succeed. I can do it. I have played with this wind not grass a lot in the past. The surrounding beastmen did not want the children to succeed, they got closer and closer. They had ill intentions, they purposely growled and threatened, or breathed roughly to interrupt the children. Scoundrel, get away from me, you stink. Feng Jin Huang flew into a rage, she shouted at a crocodile-tailed beastman. The crocodile-tailed beastman growled angrily, it stared at Feng Jin Huang with its bloodshot eyes, it did not expect this food to be so arrogant. Feng Jin Huang had no fear, what are you growling for, so annoying, you bastard. Bam! The crocodile-tailed beastman erupted, its tail which was tough as iron swept and directly destroyed Feng Jin Huang's skull. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know, report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:13, Dream Wings, Unravel Dream. Chapter 9:13, Dream Wings, Unravel Dream. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Once Feng Jin Huang died, her soul flew into the night sky, giggling tenderly. On the back of her soul, a pair of rainbow-colored feather wings unfolded. It was the manifestation of Dream Wings Immortal Gu. I have Dream Wings Immortal Gu, I can freely enter and exit the dream realm. Even if I failed this time, I can just wait for the next attempt at the dream realm, and try again. Feng Jin Huang snorted smugly internally. She had tried earlier, the wind knot grass in her hands had already been ruined by her, the knot was even worse than at the beginning. But when Feng Jin Huang was about to escape by flapping her wings, an eagle-bodied beastman pounced down from the sky. Feng Jin Huang shrieked in fear, she wanted to dodge. But the wings that could flap rapidly ordinarily were extremely slow when they tried to move in this dream realm. Feng Jin Huang had underestimated star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm, it was much more hard to deal with, her soul was crushed by the eagle-bodied beastman before she could escape. With just one hit, Feng Jin Huang's soul was heavily injured. At the next moment, Feng Jin Huang left the dream realm, her soul returned to her body. Puff! She opened her eyes and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Gu masters from Spirit Affinity House were shocked, they quickly came over to assist her. What a formidable dream realm! If I were to take another hit like that one earlier, would definitely die inside the dream for real. Feng Jin Huang's eyes were flashing with lingering fear, cold sweat was pouring down her back. I was careless. Even though I have Dream Wings Immortal Gu, against the dream realm of an Immortal Venerable, I am not safe at all. Thankfully, I had prepared a large number of Guts Gu and brought it with me. With Guts Gu, my soul will recover rapidly. In half a day, I will heal completely. Feng Jin Huang wiped the cold sweat off her forehead as she stopped wasting time, she quickly started healing herself. In the dream realm, Fang Yuan directed his gaze towards the wind not grass again. Feng Jin Huang's earlier performance gave Fang Yuan quite a bit of information. This dream realm is not large in scale, this current scene is only the outer layer of the dream realm. This is an immortal venerable's dream after all. Even with the rank 6 dream wings immortal Gu, she could not escape immediately. Now it seems, the crux of this dream realm is the wind not grass in my hands. Fang Yuan had a realization. After he finished his observations, he started to untie the wind not grass. He first tried to untie it from the outermost layer. He felt like he was facing a complex and tangled ball of string. He needed to find the outer tip of the string and pull it out slowly strand by strand. At the third layer, Fang Yuan could not continue further. It was a complete mess in front of him, the stalks were intertwined together, he could not untie it manually. To untie the wind not grass without using brute strength, not only would I need confidence and good perception, I need to deduce it with my brain, I also need patience and ample time, most importantly, along with some luck. Fang Yuan sighed to himself inwardly. He had opened a path in this wind not grass, but this path was stuck at the third layer. There was a way out for him now, that was to retreat by 2 layers and try to untie this from another end. Other people could only do this as well. But there was an exception. Fang Yuan looked around and noticed that the girl he suspected was star constellation immortal venerable had already untied the 7th layer. The wind not grass had shrunken in half in her hands. Without using any wisdom path Gu worms, using purely her brain power, she reached this stage. Fang Yuan was shocked. Even though he had been late at starting to unite the wind not grass, the difference between them was still too great. Fang Yuan squinted, he concealed the brilliance shining in his eyes. In terms of untying ability, Fang Yuan was only at the middle to upper tier among the children. In terms of progress, he was at the middle to lower tier. More than half the time had passed already. Looking at the speed of the children, the only one with any hopes of escaping was the girl who he thought was star constellation immortal venerable. But Fang Yuan had ample confidence, he believed that not only could he succeed, he would even surpass everyone and become the first. What gave him confidence was none other than the Dream Path Immortal Killer move, Unravel Dream. Unravel Dream activated. The intertwined strands in front of him slowly melted, they untied themselves. The surrounding beast men were watching this, especially a snake beast man behind Fang Yuan, it was observing the entire process. But they did not say anything, or take any action. This was the mystical power of Unravel Dream. It was not an offensive killer move purely, its effect varied according to the dream he was in. For example, if Fang Yuan was fighting inside a dream realm, Unravel Dream would be his strongest attacking method. If the dream realm was weak, he could directly disintegrate his enemies. Right now, the dream realm's rules were for Fang Yuan to untie the wind not grass. Then, Unravel Dream's current effect was to help Fang Yuan and untie the wind not grass. This untying was according to the set rules, it was not unraveled through brute force. In the eyes of the surrounding children and the observing beast men, Fang Yuan was not cheating at all, he was using his brain in successfully untying the 3rd layer of the wind not grass. Thus, they did not do anything, even the snake person that wanted to eat Fang Yuan only watched with a slightly surprised expression, it felt that it was somewhat unexpected that Fang Yuan could untie 3 layers. Unravel Dream. Unravel Dream. Unravel Dream. Fang Yuan continued his momentum and did not stop. The wind not grass in his hands was quickly untied, he reached the center. At the core of the wind not grass, there was a seed. This was the self-defense mechanism of the plants in immemorial green heaven, as well as a way to use the wind for dispersal. Fang Yuan took out the seed, standing up and raising it high. He succeeded. This speed is too fast. I am begging you, help me, okay? The surrounding people were stirred up, even the girl who he suspected to be star constellation immortal venerable gave him a surprised gaze. You are free, little thing. I will give you 3 days to escape for your life, scram now. The leader of the Beastman tribe snorted, kicking Fang Yuan and sending him flying. Fang Yuan's tiny body flew in the air for a distance of more than 10 steps before crashing on the ground. What made Fang Yuan surprised was, even though he felt a little short of breath from getting kicked, he was uninjured. The Beastman leader was strong and powerful, but in terms of physical movements, it had reached the stage of perfect self-control. Since Fang Yuan had untied the wind not grass, the Beastman tribe had to let him go. Fang Yuan gazed a glance at the little girl, the latter had already gathered her attention to the wind not grass in her hands. Fang Yuan hesitated slightly, before turning around and leaving. He left the bonfire, walking towards the darkness in the forest. He only took a dozen steps before there was a bright light shining in the darkness. The more he walked forward, the brighter the light. Eventually, all of the darkness in front of him turned into light. The light faded slowly, and the scene of reality showed itself in front of him. Fang Yuan realized that not only did he open his eyes, his body had walked for over a dozen steps, away from the manifested dream realm. Looking back at the dream realm, Fang Yuan frowned deeply. He was very confused. What is going on? I left the dream realm just like that. He thought it over. This exploration of the dream realm did not fail. His wisdom path attainment level had risen slightly. This should not be. According to the scale of this dream realm, there should be 3 scenes. I got through the first round, why did I not enter the second round successfully? Fang Yuan stood on the spot as he pondered. The light emitted by the manifested dream realm shined on his face. He left the dream realm and returned on the same route from which he entered. On the other side of the dream realm, Spirit Affinity House's group was still trying to heal Feng Jin Huang urgently. Thus, Fang Yuan was not exposed. But if he could not understand why he left the dream realm, there was a possibility that he might walk towards Spirit Affinity House's direction the next time he left it. If others found out that Fang Yuan could explore the dream realm, it would be somewhat troublesome. After a long time, Fang Yuan's tight frown gradually eased. He walked forwards and let the dream realm engulf him. His vision changed. Fang Yuan had entered star constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm again. Dark night, bonfire, beastmen, children, wind not grass, the same scene was unfolding again. Using Unravel Dream, Fang Yuan cheated all the way, becoming the first to untie the wind not grass. But this time, he did not leave. He walked towards the girl who he thought was star constellation Immortal Venerable and tried to help her untie her wind not grass. The Beastman leader did not object. He said, "Little rascal, you still want to help others? You can help her, but if you fail, you will lose your life." It seems my guess is correct. Fang Yuan was overjoyed. He untied the wind not grass within the time limit and successfully escaped with the girl. What? I still left. Fang Yuan looked back in surprise. His second attempt still failed. Fang Yuan did not enter the second scene. He was thrown out of the dream realm like the first time. Dream realms were unpredictable and strange, their rules varied. Because each dream realm was unique, it was hard to accumulate experience in exploring the dream realm. Even though Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories, his advantage was still very small. This time, after saving the girl, my wisdom path attainment went up more than last time. Fang Yuan muttered. He went into deep contemplation. According to this situation, there were 2 possibilities. 1. The girl that he saved was not the real star constellation Immortal Venerable. 2. He had to save more children. After he hit a certain number, he would enter the second scene. Before he entered the dream realm for a third time, Fang Yuan rested slightly first. He took out Daoist Gu and healed his weakened soul back to its prime. Even though he had successfully escaped the dream realm and did a successful exploration, his soul was not unharmed. He still expended a lot of it in the dream realm. Of course, Fang Yuan's soul was far less injured than Feng Jin Huang's. The former had succeeded, while the latter's exploration failed. This was incomparable. Third time. Fang Yuan spurring himself on inwardly, he entered the dream realm again. Everything restarted again in the dream. The moment the wind not grass was distributed, Fang Yuan used the killer move Unravel Dream several times, and in a few breaths' time, he untied the wind not grass in his hand. Fang Yuan grabbed onto the seed as he raised up his right hand, shouting, "I succeeded." At once, be it the beastmen or children, they stared with wide open eyes as they looked at Fang Yuan in shock. The noisy scene turned into creepy silence. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:14, Huge Growth in Attainment Level. Chapter 9:14, Huge Growth in Attainment Level. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. I will help you. After Fang Yuan untied his wind-knot grass, he went to the child closest to him. Hee, rascal, you still want to help others? Sure. But you. The beast man leader snickered. Before he finished his words, he was interrupted by Fang Yuan. I know, if I can't save them, I will not leave, you can eat me. Fang Yuan waved his hand, speaking casually. Guh. The beast man leader choked up on his words, he could not say anything else. The surrounding children looked at Fang Yuan with hopeful and admiring gazes, as if they were looking at a hero. Lad, if you can save them all, I will step down as the leader. The beast man leader smiled sinisterly. But soon, he could not smile anymore. Fang Yuan did not follow the script, he used Unravel Dream continuously at an incredible pace. All of the captured children were saved one after another. If he were to untie the wind-knot grass through his own efforts, he would not even be able to save himself. But after using Unravel Dream, the difficulty fell immensely. To make a comparison, this was like playing mahjong, where everyone else was drawing random tiles, while Fang Yuan was changing the tiles to whatever he wanted. From everyone else's perspective, this sort of cheating behavior looked like Fang Yuan moving his fingers rapidly, no matter which wind-knot grass he held, after turning it a few times over, it would be untied rapidly, until the seed was taken out from its centermost position. So simple. Simply too easy. This was the power of the Dream Path Killer move Unravel Dream. The children's eyes were shining with tears, they looked at Fang Yuan as their gazes was filled with unparalleled gratitude and adoration. The beastmen opened their mouths wide, they were dumbfounded, unable to believe this. I saved them all, I succeeded. Fang Yuan spoke calmly at the beastman leader. A moment later, the children understand the situation and erupted into a deafening cheer, some were sobbing out of joy, some were jumping around excitedly. The beastman leader was speechless, he stared at Fang Yuan with bloodshot eyes. The surrounding beastmen were growling or baring their fangs, they were tempted to strike. Fang Yuan was not afraid that the beastmen would go back on their words. In most cases, these tribal beliefs were extremely strict, due to the culture and traditions of the tribe, they had to obey it. Of course, nothing was certain. In reality, there was the possibility that the Beastman tribe would go back on their words. But here, it was special, it was a dream realm. This was not reality. Indeed, like Fang Yuan had expected, the Beastmen were furious and discontent, but they could only watch the food that was in front of them leave. Passing through the dark forest, Fang Yuan led the group of children away from the Beastman tribe, they got far away from the bonfire. The children gathered around Fang Yuan, they walked together as they fell into silence. In the darkness, a speck of light expanded, until light filled his vision. Fang Yuan's soul returned to his body, he opened his eyes. Taking a look, Fang Yuan showed a surprised expression. He turned to the manifested dream realm behind him, he was filled with questions, how can this be? I have already saved all the children, I did this to the limits. How can I still be thrown out of the dream realm, and not enter the second scene? Fang Yuan frowned deeply. Don't tell me, my guess was wrong. Untying the wind-knot grass and saving the children is not the correct method to pass the first scene. What clues did I neglect? Fang Yuan thought intensely, he worked his mind to its limits. Explorations of dream realms were difficult. Even if Fang Yuan had his previous life's memories, and was at the forefront of this generation, but when exploring the dream realm, he had no confidence in succeeding. Every dream realm was unique. The method to explore dream realms varied each time, it was hard to accumulate helpful experiences. Fang Yuan could only guess right now and try every idea he had. He could only persevere and not get frustrated to have a chance of passing the dream realm. Of course, in Fang Yuan's previous life, there were many instances where people explored dream realms and failed to make any progress for decades. Fang Yuan felt his head hurting. He had little confidence in his new guesses. In that case, I should go elsewhere and subdue the hidden essence turtle. Fang Yuan had run into a barrier in this dream realm. He would not stubbornly stay in place. Even though Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm was his main objective, he still definitely was going to obtain the dragonfish, hidden essence turtle, and the desolate plant. Changing his train of thought, Fang Yuan left this place, heading to another location. 2 hours later, Feng Jin Huang's pale face regained a bit of her rosiness. She opened her eyes. In her clear eyes, brilliance radiated. Daoist Gu is truly helpful towards the healing and recovery of souls, it takes effect so quickly. She was joyful. Seeing that she was safe, the other 4 Spirit Affinity House Gu masters heaved sighs of relief. They were here as bodyguards. If anything happened to Feng Jin Huang, they would not have a good time when they returned to the sect. Feng Jin Huang saw the desolate beast shark fin wolf that Fang Yuan left behind. Her gaze focused as she asked the Gu masters around her. After hearing that during her healing period, no other Gu masters had gotten close, she relaxed slightly. Finally, she inspected her body and confirmed that she had healed completely. She stood up and faced the dream realm again. Earlier, I used Dream Wings Immortal Gu and it displayed great capabilities while I was obtaining a boost in my refinement path attainment level. But this time, I am facing an Immortal Venerable's dream realm. The difficulty is worlds apart. I cannot commit my earlier mistake again. Why does the dream realm look slightly smaller? Feng Jin Huang's gaze concentrated. She showed a suspicious look. Once the dream realm was successfully explored, it would vanish. Even though Fang Yuan did not succeed, he had gained quite a harvest. His wisdom path attainment level rose. As the saying goes, where there are gains, there are losses. Fang Yuan gained something, the dream realm naturally lost something. It showed on the surface as the dream realm's size shrinking. It did shrink. How did this happen? Feng Jin Huang confirmed it repeatedly and felt more suspicious. Is this Immortal Venerable Dream Realm special? It will shrink as time passes. Feng Jin Huang did not suspect anything else. In this era, people's understanding towards dream realms was still at a primitive and ignorant level. Furthermore, in Feng Jin Huang's heart, she believed that her unique Dream Wings Immortal Gu provided superiority and advantages to her in dream path. Although she was suspicious, she could not verify anything. Eventually, she shook her head, ignoring the sense of suspicion inside her. She entered the dream realm again. Just as Feng Jin Huang entered the dream realm, Fang Yuan went to the location of the hidden essence turtle in accordance with He Feng Yang's information. This wisdom path desolate beast was huge, it was like a mound. At this moment, the hidden essence turtle's 4 limbs and head were hidden in its shell, its body was covered and hidden under rocks. Fang Yuan laughed lightly, he swooped down like an eagle ferociously. Boom boom boom. Intense explosions occurred, causing thunderous sounds. Fang Yuan and the hidden essence turtle fought. At once, rocks flew, smoke was rising up. The hidden essence turtle tried to resist at first, but it had no immortal Gu and was only a desolate beast, not an ancient desolate beast. How could it be the match of Fang Yuan who had rank 7 battle strength? After several rounds, the hidden essence turtle could only hide inside its shell and take a beating. This turtle shell is really thick. Fang Yuan attacked against the hidden essence turtle and felt a little surprised momentarily. He laughed in a helpless tone. He did not exert his full strength. In fact, he rarely used his immortal Gu. He had used Myriad Self-Giant Hand in many situations already. It would be best if he did not expose it. Who knew if other sects had preparations involving some investigative immortal Gu? Fang Yuan needed to conceal his strength as much as possible. Thus, after the hidden essence turtle hid itself, Fang Yuan did not rush. He split his focus onto 2 tasks at once. He made the battle grand and loud while savoring his gains from the dream realm. As he thought over it, he had countless inspirations that emerged in him. It was like a door had been opened in front of him. He could see the view outside of the house. This feeling was incredible, amazing. Fang Yuan was drowning in euphoria. Earlier, my wisdom path attainment level was extremely ordinary. After all, I only started my wisdom path cultivation recently. But now, my wisdom path attainment level has reached quasi-master level. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm is simply incredible. Such progress, if it was according to normal cultivation, would take him decades of accumulation. Even though the dream realm was dangerous, each time he succeeded, he would have great gains. It was truly a great leap forward. Fang Yuan saved a lot of time. Why is there such thunderous noise? Fang Yuan was fighting intensely with the hidden essence turtle. Groups of Gu masters were drawn over to investigate the situation. Fang Yuan. How can he be so strong? No wonder the elders in the sect told us to avoid this monster Fang Yuan. He is simply cheating. This is so unfair to us. How can we compete with this monster? Eventually, Fang Yuan spent a day and a night to subdue the hidden essence turtle and send it into his immortal aperture. During this period, many Gu masters were drawn over, but after doing some investigations, they retreated in fear. 36th failure. Feng Jin Huang opened her eyes in fatigue. Ever since she was heavily injured, she had become careful. Unfortunately, she did not have unraveled dream, and had never interacted with wind not grass previously. She failed a total of 36 times, not even untying it correctly once. Being able to survive in the dream was the most basic requirement for successfully exploring a dream realm. Failing to untie the wind not grass meant she could not survive. The explorations failed. Thus, each time Feng Jin Huang explored the dream realm, the injuries to her soul after failing far surpassed that of Fang Yuan. She had to spend a lot of time to rest and recover. Thus, after 2 days and 1 night, she only explored it 36 times. The Immortal Venerable's dream realm is so tough. I have Dream Wings Immortal Gu, but it is still so difficult for me, not to mention others. Feng Jin Huang looked at the dream realm in front of her with a bitter expression. She was filled with dejection and frustration. Right now, as long as she thought about the appearance of the wind not grass, this proud young genius would feel like vomiting. At this moment, Fang Yuan secretly got close to the dream realm. He had already captured the hidden essence turtle and nether grass. He was going to put his remaining time into the Immortal Venerable's dream realm. After going through some intense deductions, Fang Yuan had a new idea. Just as Feng Jin Huang was anguished and dejected, Fang Yuan smiled confidently as he secretly entered the dream realm again. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:15, The Biggest Winner. Chapter 9:15, The Biggest Winner. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm was displayed in front of Fang Yuan once again. It was night. A huge fire was burning. Dancing around the fire were beast men making beastly shouts and growls one after another. This was a celebration. A bloody celebration after hunting. Fang Yuan calmly looked around him. He was once again a human child bound tightly. Around him were many other boys and girls in the same situation. We are doomed, we are dead meat. Woo-woo. I don't want to be eaten. The kids cried, desperate and pale. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with a sharp light as he suddenly stood up and shouted, I want wind not grass. The Beastman tribe celebration had just entered a heated stage. And right at this time, Fang Yuan's voice suddenly pierced into this celebration. For a moment, the bestial calls paused and all the Beastmen looked at Fang Yuan with blood-red eyes. An enormous pressure was formed. The human children became as silent as cicadas during winter, shivering, some even peed their pants. Fang Yuan was without any expression, as he shouted once more. The Beastman leader grunted furiously before instructing with surging killing intent, give it to him. Little rascal, I will be watching you. As long as you ruin even a small strand, I will use my trunk to roll your tender little body into meat paste. An elephant Beastman walked over and handed a ball of wind not grass to Fang Yuan while threatening him. Fang Yuan chuckled and glanced at the wind-knot grass on his hand before raising his head. 1. How is this enough? Give me 1 ball of wind-knot grass for every human captive there is here. I will untie all the wind-knot grass, and save all of them. Instantly, shocked sounds came from all around. Be it the beastmen or the children beside Fang Yuan, they all stared at Fang Yuan with different expressions. After the momentary shock, the beastmen started laughing loudly. And the children who had felt hopeful, felt dispirited again, worried and desperate. Soon, all the wind-knot grass were laid in front of Fang Yuan. The height of the whole wind-knot grass pile was several times Fang Yuan's current size. Were he to use his own strength, it would be impossible to untie all this wind-knot grass in the extremely limited time. Besides Fang Yuan, no one else believed he could succeed. Under everyone's gazes, Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air and began to disassemble the wind-knot grass. Unravel dream. Unravel dream. Unravel dream. This special Immortal Killer move was created with a Wisdom Path Immortal Gu, Unravel Mystery, as the core and several supplementary Dream Path Mortal Gu. Right now, it produced extremely great effects. However, although Unravel Mystery Immortal Gu could be used repeatedly, other Dream Path Mortal Gu would be expended after continuous use. Fortunately, Fang Yuan had never slacked off. He would take out some time every day to explore his own dream realm and refine Dream Path Mortal Gu. Little by little, these Dream Path Mortal Gu accumulated and were used at this moment. It was as the saying goes, opportunities favor those who are prepared. I have finally entered the second round of the Dream Realm. Fang Yuan felt satisfied inwardly. This time, he was not thrown out by the Dream Realm, and succeeded in his hopes of entering the second round of the Dream Realm. As it turned out, to pass through the first round of the Dream Realm, one had to save all the children. Fang Yuan had tried it before but was actually late by a step. In the original route of the Dream Realm, a portion of the children were already killed by the Elephant Man. The Elephant Man brought these children under the Beast Man leader's instruction, but he intentionally slipped up, smashing the tree trunk to the ground. The tree trunk easily crushed many bound children. Their flesh was fought over by the beastmen and devoured. Although this did conform to the Beastman tribe's traditions, it could be considered to be skirting around them. The Elephant Man was a famous warrior of the Beastman tribe, the Beastman leader and others also put up with this action. When Fang Yuan was subduing the hidden essence turtle and nether grass, he realized this key point and saved all the human children, finally succeeding in entering the second round. After passing the first round, my Wisdom Path attainment has probably reached master level. A lot of Dream Path Mortal Gu have been expended by repeatedly using the killer move Unravel Dream. I will need to be more sparing. It is a pity that when I followed the information obtained from Mo Yao's will to look for that spring dream fruit tree, it was already cut down by some ignorant mortals half a year ago. Otherwise, with this tree, the amount of Dream Path Mortal Gu with me would be at least 10 times the number. The first round should be derived from the memory of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's childhood. Maybe it was a regret of hers. I saved all the children which could be considered as making up for her regret, thus succeeding in passing the first round. Now, what will the second round be like? Fang Yuan suppressed his churning thoughts and observed his surroundings. It was a mountain. In the lonely night sky, few stars shone. Just like in summer, warm wind blew gently, bringing with it the fragrance of the lush mountain forest. The gurgling of the brook, the rustling of the leaves and the song of the nightingales mixed together to form sounds of nature that needed no words to adorn them. Compared the bloody, cruel and vicious first round, this second round was mild as a drizzle and gentle as a breeze. Move quickly, what are you being dazed for? As long as we can take 6 steps over the astrolabe chessboard, we can obtain the legacy of Lord Immortal Venerable. If we can become Lord Immortal Venerable's disciples, we can learn abilities and become experts. At that time, we will avenge our families and kill those damned beast men. The surrounding children urged Fang Yuan to move, when they saw him stop. Fang Yuan immediately understood some conditions to pass the second round. There are records of this in history. The first rank 9 Gu immortal in human history is known as Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable. He was very aware of the drawbacks of the clan system, and to initiate a sect system, he set an example himself, setting up astrolabes in many places. As long as someone was able to walk 6 steps on the astrolabe chessboard, they could become his personal disciple. Feng Yuan recalled as he followed the surrounding companions towards the peak. There, he saw the famous astrolabe chessboard. The astrolabe chessboard was carved on a giant rock with a flat surface. On the rock were lines that were either horizontal cuts, vertical cuts, or diagonal cuts. Every time the breeze blew, these lines would flash with deep blue starry radiance. When Feng Yuan approached closer, these starry lines directly passed through his eyes and appeared in his mind. At the same time, his soul was suddenly being consumed at dozens of times the previous rate. Many of the children who came with him stopped, unable to go forward, some even fainted on the spot. Feng Yuan concentrated and walked forward till he reached the giant rock. He then slowly put his palm on the rock surface. Boom! His ears buzzed as he hallucinated. Those thin starry lines suddenly expanded into paths he was walking on. And Feng Yuan's whole body blossomed with starry radiance, becoming a star chess piece, stopping in this web of these starry paths. Astrolabe chessboard. Feng Yuan observed, cold sweat filling his head. He thought for a long while before taking a step hesitatingly. The next moment, his soul was thrown out of the dream realm and returned to his physical body. His soul was heavily injured. One wrong step and everything failed. Feng Yuan's body swayed, almost falling down to the ground. The injury to his soul was much more severe than Feng Jinhuang's, almost costing him half his life. The second round of the dream realm is immensely more dangerous than the first round. Feng Yuan revealed a shocked expression before immediately calming down. But, I have already passed the first round and received great gains. My wisdom path attainment has indeed already reached master level. There is still time, no need to hurry. I will use Daoist Gu to recuperate first, then slowly explore. While Feng Yuan was healing his injuries, opposite him, obstructed by the external manifestation of the dream realm, Feng Jinhuang had just finished recovering. She opened her eyes and stood up, intending to try again. Why has the dream realm shrunk again? Moreover, it has shrunken much more this time, almost by a third. Feng Jinhuang stared with wide-open eyes. Feng Yuan had passed the first round and received huge gains, thus the first round of the dream realm's external manifestation had disappeared. This portion of the dream realm had already turned into nourishment for Feng Yuan. Could it be that someone else has succeeded in exploring the dream realm? Feng Jinhuang thought of this before laughing lightly to herself. That is not possible. Mother used the sect's help and already deduced that I possess the only dream path immortal Gu in Central Continent. It seems this dream realm is truly special. It will gradually shrink with time. I need to hurry up. Feng Jinhuang squinted her eyes as she activated Dream Wings Immortal Gu. Her dream wings flapped, bringing her soul into the dream realm. The moment she entered, Feng Jinhuang felt great joy. This is clearly a deeper layer of the dream realm. This is great. I finally don't have to face the damned wind not grass. Right now, Feng Jinhuang was jumping with joy in the dream realm. However, after a while, Feng Jinhuang returned, utterly defeated. Her injured soul returned to its body, her face extremely pale. There is no more wind not grass, but now there is this even more complex astrolabe chessboard. She bitterly looked at this dream realm in front of her, the external manifestation releasing all kinds of colors, gorgeous and mysterious. Grievance and anger filled her, but she had nowhere to vent it. Feng Jinhuang had gained many benefits from dream realms before, and with the Dream Wings Immortal Gu in her hands, she had gotten the thought that dream realms are just so, having a low opinion of the obstacles inside. Over her life, she had never failed so miserably like this. She had already spent the last few days facing this dream realm. She had received all sorts of injuries dozens of times, but had not made even the smallest gain. Star constellation immortal venerable, I will remember you. Feng Jin Huan gritted her teeth, her eyes rolled backwards and she fainted. She finally could not endure the injuries. Time passed quickly, it was already the last day of the agreement. All the Gu masters who had entered the fragment world came out and returned to the sides of their respective sects Gu immortals, reporting on their findings. Soon, all the immortals' gazes gathered on Fang Yuan and He Feng Yang. In this contest, Immortal Crane's sect without doubt monopolized the lead, not only eating meat, they did not even leave behind soup for others. In such a situation, Fang Yuan naturally did not want to stay for long. He completed the handover to He Feng Yang on the spot, and left this valley while keeping his dragonfish. Fang Yuan remained silent about his gains, he was fully aware that he was the biggest winner in this contest. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:16, Dual Grandmaster. Chapter 9:16, Dual Grandmaster. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Who Immortal Blessed Land. The underground cave was shining with blood-red light. The faint blood-red light originated from stalks of blood-colored lingji in the cave. These blood-colored lingji grew freely, they were mutated from ordinary lingji. The original Ji forest was not suitable for Who Immortal Blessed Land. But after the blood poison carry a earthly calamity, Who Immortal Blessed Land gained some blood path Dao marks, the environment of the entire area changed drastically, it was suitable for the growth of some blood path life forms. Thus, the originally dwindling Ji forest turned into a blood Ji forest, it grew rapidly and became extremely lush. And earlier, Who Immortal Blessed Land had chestnut flowers, poisonous blue degree grass, water chestnut grass, 6 divine grass, 7 colored 7 treasure flowers, and milk tea flowers and more growing all over it, but they were all wiped out. When comparing the two, one could see how merciless heaven was, there was a feeling of great changes over time, there was some profound meaning behind it. Fang Yuan sat on a giant blood lingji. At this moment, he was slowly opening his eyes, letting out a breath of cloudy air. Earlier, when he moved about, he used the identity of Xianxia, as well as vaguely familiar face to disguise his appearance. Right now, in Who Immortal Blessed Land, he was in his base camp, he did not need to use immortal essence to maintain the transformation path killer move, Fang Yuan was in his original zombie form now. He had 8 arms, his face was green and his eyes were bright red, he was 6 meters tall with protruding fangs, he was shining with a cold glint among the blood-red light. But at this moment, his eyes were shining with a deep light of wisdom. This light was the accumulation of time, the crystallization of time and space, it was moving and formed a stark contrast to his evil and ruthless appearance. Recalling his earlier thoughts, Fang Yuan let out a breath of foggy air, he sighed softly, the gains this time are simply too much. He had to admit this point. Because from this exploration of the dream realm, Fang Yuan's star path and wisdom path attainment reached grandmaster level. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's dream realm not only made Fang Yuan's wisdom path attainment level increase, it also raised his star path attainment level. Fang Yuan was very shocked regarding this. Grandmaster attainment level. What did this mean? After accumulating foundation in both his previous life and current life, Fang Yuan only became a grandmaster in blood path and strength path. Among them, blood path grandmaster was because Fang Yuan cultivated blood path mainly in his previous life, it was accumulated through time. As for strength path grandmaster, he had cultivated it on the side in his previous life, while mainly cultivating it this time. Because he had a foundation in his previous life, when he cultivated it this time, with the help of the immortal ascension tribulation, he obtained a chance to learn from heaven and earth. Furthermore, there was He Lu Lan's dream realm. With all these reasons, he managed to accumulate sufficient foundation. After exerting so much effort in both lives, using more than 500 years, he only became a grandmaster in 2 paths. But this time, he only explored a dream realm of star constellation Immortal Venerable, and spent less than half a month, yet he was already a Wisdom Path and Star Path Grandmaster. It was impossible to see his Grandmaster attainment level physically, but Fang Yuan knew, his gains were immeasurable. He could even say it was more valuable than Hu Immortal Blessed Land. My gains this time will allow me to grow immensely for this period of time, I can even break out of my predicament. Generally speaking, development was the result of accumulation and gradual progress. By growing slowly and steadily, one would achieve success in the end. But fortuitous encounters and windfalls would allow one to experience explosive growth, jumping out of a stale state and saving huge amounts of time, overturning the situation and obtaining an extraordinary achievement. Since rebirth, Fang Yuan had been resolving difficulties. He advanced bravely and had many gains. They were extremely helpful to him, allowing him to find solutions. Liquor Worm, Spring Autumn Cicada, Blood Skull Gu, Bone Flesh Unity Gu, All Out Effort Gu, Three Kings Blessed Land, Hu Immortal Blessed Land, Second Aperture Gu, Becoming a Strength Path Gu Immortal and gaining inspiration from nature, as well as Wisdom Gu. Other than these, there were other areas in which he grew and progressed, but they did not overturn his situations. However, after this trip to Starry Sky Grotto Heaven, Fang Yuan had gained a new shocking harvest, that was his dual Grandmaster attainment level. Among which, Wisdom Gu was a rank 9 Immortal Gu. It had reached an agreement with Fang Yuan, but it was not his, the degree to which he could make use of it was not high. However, attainment levels were something that belonged entirely to the Gu Immortal themselves. In Fang Yuan's opinion, dual Grandmaster attainment level was more valuable than Wisdom Gu itself. Since rebirth, this can be considered another situation where I made immense and shocking gains, yet this time the process was very easy, it was unthinkably simple. Fang Yuan could feel the mysteries of the twists and turns over life in opportunities from this. He naturally had some guesses, perhaps this was related to Connect Luck. Speaking of which, ever since he used Connect Luck, Fang Yuan's cultivation journey had become much smoother. The rise of his attainment levels, especially when they rose to Grandmaster attainment level, gave an incredible feeling, he could not describe it. It was as if Fang Yuan had previously been looking out of the window and seeing a large rock formation, filled with crevices and weeds. Now, he took a few steps up and could see further and higher. He could now observe part of the rock formation by looking down. He felt that this part of the formation was as tiny as a pebble beneath his feet now. When he looked further ahead, he could see more, and understand deeper. Attainment level, this was something very hard to describe. What was attainment level? Even for the developed Gu Master cultivation world, everyone had their own explanations for it, there was no unified description. Fang Yuan's soul came from earth. This difference made him possess a different understanding regarding the phrase attainment level. So-called attainment levels are like mathematics problems. By answering many mathematics questions, one can accumulate experience. When they get the correct answer, they will eventually understand the crux of them, gaining enlightenment and raising their attainment level. With this level of understanding, they can solve other related mathematics questions easily, and get the right answer. When they encounter very unfamiliar questions, they can also use their existing knowledge to answer a portion of them. Thus, when Fang Yuan encounters questions in cultivation, because his attainment level rose, he could solve the question to varying degrees. For example, Fang Yuan's use of Wisdom Gu earlier was just superficial, it was a brutish and forced method. Now that he had Wisdom Path Grandmaster attainment level, he gained many inspirations and ideas. He could try to use some supplementary Gu worms to make use of Wisdom Gu more efficiently. Another example was modifying Gu recipes. Back then, Fang Yuan had tried to modify recipes of Memory Thought Gu, Star Thought Gu and Malicious Thought Gu, but because his Wisdom Path attainment level was low, he kept failing, he encountered impasses and could not advance. Afterwards, he successfully modified Star Thought Gu's recipe, but he was making use of Starlight Immortal Gu, it was not because of his own abilities. Now, Fang Yuan could feel that he could modify these Gu recipes, and they would be even better than before. Going beyond this, Fang Yuan was even confident that he could perfect incomplete inheritances. Like earlier, Fang Yuan had obtained an incomplete Wisdom Path inheritance, Memory Thought Gu, Reminiscence Immortal Gu, and multiple Mortal Killer moves were included. With his Grandmaster attainment level now, Fang Yuan could deduce this inheritance to a degree, and even restore it. Gu recipes could be modified, he could modify killer moves as well. The killer moves Miri itself, vaguely familiar face, they were within the range of possible applications. Also battlefield killer moves, Fang Yuan could not find one after so long, but now he had the foundation needed to create one himself. Or for example, the construction of Star Form Blessed Land. Earlier, Fang Yuan's plans needed huge amounts of funds. Now, with his Wisdom Path and Star Path attainment levels, he could improve this plan and save an immensely large number of Immortal Essence Stones in construction fees. Furthermore, this new plan would be even more ideal and useful than the previous one. The raising of hairy men, his 8 sources of revenue, the use of Gu immortal souls, the claiming of Gu Pai blessed land, there were many things he could do. The rise of attainment levels was quite special. In conclusion, when attainment levels rise, the person experiences growth in all aspects. The Gu Master's cultivation journey would be refreshed, there would be great prospects, their strength would rise up as well. Time passed quickly. In terms of the 5 regions' time, half a month passed. 2 wills were intertwined, battling intensely. Fang Yuan's will had the complete advantage, he was suppressing Mo Yao's will. Fang Yuan's will's advantage continued to grow, he could almost toy with Mo Yao's will easily now. How can this be, how can your capabilities rise by so much? Mo Yao's will screamed in shocked anger. Before this, Fang Yuan had been using a similar amount of will to fight with Mo Yao's will, they were at best evenly matched, he was even at a disadvantage. But now, Fang Yuan's Wisdom Path attainment level had reached Grandmaster level, he only used 1/3 of the will to defeat Mo Yao's will till she screamed in fear. From the start of the battle, Fang Yuan was implacably in the lead, suppressing Mo Yao's will and preventing her from doing anything. Earlier, I used Mo Yao's will as a training dummy, I learned many techniques by fighting with her will. Now, I am far beyond Mo Yao's will, I can use many techniques naturally and smoothly. Mo Yao's will has lost her value as a training dummy. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan drew back his will. He placed all his attention on the battlefield killer move in front of him, 8 Doors Labyrinth. 10 days ago, Fang Yuan left to Immortal Blessed Land, he came to Eastern Sea and joined up with Shark Demon and the rest, exploring Yulu Blessed Land. The tough barrier back then, 8 Doors Labyrinth, was now resolvable by Fang Yuan, who was a Wisdom Path Grandmaster. Back then, Fang Yuan had thought that he would need the Wisdom Path Immortal Gu, Star Thought, to have a chance of dismantling 8 Doors Labyrinth. But now, he could multitask, deducing the battlefield killer move while secretly sparring with Mo Yao's will. Most importantly, after tens of days had passed in the Blessed Land's time, under Fang Yuan's lead, Shark Demon and the others were finally close to unraveling 8 Doors Labyrinth. We are about to pass 8 Doors Labyrinth, to think that this Xianxia would suddenly become so fierce. 8 Doors Labyrinth, is this battlefield killer move the final obstacle in Yulu Blessed Land? The immortals were secretly excited. Boom! With a thunderous sound, 8 Doors Labyrinth was thoroughly unraveled by Fang Yuan. Yulu Blessed Land's true appearance appeared before all the immortals. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:17, Unmoving Troops. Chapter 9:17, Unmoving Troops. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. After dismantling the battlefield killer move 8 Doors Labyrinth, everyone's field of vision widened, seeing Yulu Blessed Land's true appearance. Only to see that there were flashing lights in the sky, they were like traces of silk or streams of water, some were moving slowly, while others were creating dazzling ripples. Red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, each light had a bright color. Dazzling light shined on everyone's faces. Fang Yuan, Shark Demon, and the others did not speak. They looked at this amazing sight as they showed some excitement and amazement. This Yulu blessed land was very different from normal blessed lands. Ordinary blessed lands had the sky, ground, vegetation, flowers, birds, worms, and fish. But here, there was nothing. Yulu blessed land was very unique. It was merely a broad space without any concept of sky or ground, there was no living beings, and there were also no resources that Gu immortals usually accumulated. Maybe this uniqueness is the reason why Yulu blessed land can set up battlefield killer moves of countless paths. Feng Yuan had a realization. Normally speaking, there were huge conflicts between battlefield killer moves and blessed lands or grotto heavens. Few Gu immortals were capable of setting up battlefield killer moves in their blessed lands or grotto heavens. Because battlefield killer moves used Gu worms to engrave Dao marks and temporarily create a battlefield. Meanwhile, grotto heavens and blessed lands were made of Dao marks. Because the Dao marks varied, they conflicted. When Langya blessed land was attacked by Qin Bai Sheng and the others, Langya land spirit did not use a battlefield killer move to resist them. That was because within the blessed land, establishing a battlefield killer move was detrimental to oneself. But Yulu blessed land went against this common sense of the cultivation world. In Feng Yuan's case, when he attacked Yulu blessed land, he had encountered 3 battlefield killer moves: Freezing Rain Frozen Earth, Fighting Soul Battlefield, and 8 Doors Labyrinth. These 3 were evidently immortal killer moves from different paths. They would not normally gather in the hands of a single Gu immortal and become used in their immortal aperture. But within Yulu blessed land, not only were these 3 used, they did not clash with the blessed land at all. In fact, they seemed to complement each other in a way. Fairy Yulu was a disciple of Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. It is not strange that her immortal aperture blessed land is like this. Su Bai Man looked as she let out a deep breath, saying this. Even though there are fewer resources here, if we can learn Fairy Yulu's methods and use it in our own immortal apertures, we would be able to use battlefield killer moves in it. That would be a huge gain. Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes flashed with brilliance. At this time, a Gu immortal who went with them pointed at a direction as he shouted, "Quickly look, immortal Gu." Everyone quickly looked towards the direction the Gu immortal was pointing. As expected, they saw a Gu worm that had a special appearance. It was long and slim, like a twig. It had numerous thin golden-colored wings, fluttering in the sky. The entire Gu worm looked like a branch of a long golden willow. This Gu worm quickly drilled into a nearby flashing light and vanished. But during this moment it was seen, its immortal Gu aura was undeniably exposed. Everyone's gazes became heated, their breathing became rough, but they were not surprised. There were naturally immortal Gu in Yulu blessed land. If there were no immortal Gu, how could those battlefield killer moves earlier be constructed? Even though Yulu blessed land did not have an accumulation of resources, with so many battlefield killer moves, it had to have a good number of immortal Gu. Shark Demon raised his head and laughed, breaking the silence. He was overjoyed. Even though the main gains had to be given to Zombie Alliance, he was the person who took down the blessed land, he would gain the biggest reward of at least 1 or 2 immortal Gu. Other than that, by succeeding in taking down Yulu blessed land, he would also receive a huge sum of contribution points from Zombie Alliance. If Shark Demon could find an immortal Gu that suited him, he would definitely take it for himself. This was the benefit of being the person in charge. If he found any mystical immortal Gu that could help him and his wife revive and get rid of the zombie status, that would be best. Reviving from being a zombie and becoming human, not only was Feng Yuan working towards it, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man were doing the same. Seeing Shark Demon laugh, everyone started congratulating him. Su Bai Man smiled more subtly. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man had put in huge investment into the mission of invading Yulu blessed land, they had almost used up their savings. On the surface, it could not be noticed, but Shark Demon and Su Bai Man were facing immense pressure. Right now, their investment was finally bearing fruit. As long as they obtained a rank 7 immortal Gu, all of their investments would be essentially paid off. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man were joyous, the weights on their minds had been removed. Once Yulu blessed land is captured, everyone here will be compensated according to the contributions you have made, you will not be shortchanged. Shark Demon smiled as he spoke seriously. Everyone nodded, they stepped back and asked Shark Demon and Su Bai Man to go ahead. With immense benefits in front of them, some Gu immortals might become rash. Shark Demon's words were both an assurance and threat. Everyone could understand his underlying meaning. Alright, everyone can wait and see. Shark Demon did not refuse, he struck. He willed and turned into a flash of light, with a swooshing sound, he tore through space and shot out, the direction was towards the golden willow branch like Immortal Gu earlier. Everyone saw Shark Demon rapidly approaching the Immortal Gu, but suddenly, there were ripples in space as Shark Demon vanished. At the next moment, he appeared beside everyone with a shocked expression. What happened? Su Bai Man asked in suspicion. Shark Demon shook his head, he said in an uncertain tone, it seems to be another battlefield killer move. Next, everyone tried but they could not move out, it attested to Shark Demon's guess. This is a space path battlefield killer move, even though it has no offensive power, it is definitely more profound than the previous battlefield killer moves. Did all of you notice, every time we get transported back, we would be in our original spots. Our positions would not change at all. Such an ability, this has to be the legendary unmoving troops. The Gu immortals discussed and eventually came to a consensus. Battlefield killer move, unmoving troops. This was the final battlefield killer move, it obstructed everyone. This battlefield killer move had a huge origin, it was created by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable personally. The work of an Immortal Venerable was truly profound. Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had a mild and kind temperament, he was vast different from the other 9 Gu Immortal Venerables. He was merciful, he did not like killing since he was young, he often subdued people with kindness, taking down enemies without fighting. Battlefield killer move unmoving troops, once someone entered this formation with any intent to battle, malicious thoughts, or lust, they would be unable to progress at all, unable to move. In the past, before Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable became a rank 9 Gu Immortal, he used this move to subdue a famous rank 7 Sound Path Gu Immortal, Gao Ming. In that battle, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable did not move, he only used the battlefield immortal killer move unmoving troops, no matter what methods Gao Ming used, he exerted all of his strength and did not even manage to get one step closer to Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. This battle made the arrogant Gao Ming lose his temper. He then followed Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, becoming his guard henceforth. Since this has to do with wills and thoughts, why don't we shut our minds and temporarily stop thinking? Fong Yuan said. It was not hard to achieve this. Gu immortals mostly had some wisdom path techniques, Fong Yuan was currently disguised as Xianxia, he was also partly a wisdom path Gu immortal. But everyone's attempts ended in failure. Some Gu immortals did not have outstanding wisdom path techniques. During this process of moving forward, their desires and thoughts were stirred up, breaking their thoughtless state. Only certain Gu immortals, including Fong Yuan, could achieve a state of having no thoughts. But the problem came after that. Without any thoughts, how could one capture any Gu worms? The body's movement was decided by the thoughts that were generated in the mind. Without these thoughts, the body would stay still on the ground. In this situation, there was no need for the battlefield killer move, the Gu immortals themselves could not move. Sigh. No wonder back then, Gu immortal Gao Ming became dejected and willingly submitted to the rank 7 Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, becoming his guard. To get through this round, it is hard, hard, hard. The worst part is, Yulu blessed land is right in front of us, undeniably, this is the final obstacle, but we can only watch here and look on, unable to gain anything. Maybe this arrangement was the intention of Fairy Yulu. She purposely let us see hope, luring out our thoughts and desires, it increases the difficulty of taking down this battlefield killer move. If we really cannot succeed, we will have to retreat and seek reinforcements. Su Bai Man suggested as she frowned. Shark Demon looked ahead, becoming silent. Earlier, he had invited a wisdom path Gu immortal over, but he lost an immortal Gu to her, thus he did not at all like this idea. At the crucial moment, only a person on their own side could be trusted. Shark Demon looked at Fong Yuan, now that Fang Yuan was part of Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance, he was one of them. Shark Demon asked, Xianxia, do you have any means? If you do, use them, don't worry, your compensation will not be small. Fang Yuan smiled lightly, to unravel this battlefield killer move, it can be said to be both easy and difficult. Oh. What do you mean? Fang Yuan looked around, seeing that he had attracted all of their attentions, he said slowly, everyone, do not be scared due to the reputation of unmoving troops. Back then, Gao Ming lost because the battlefield killer move was controlled by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. Right now, we are facing an unmanned battlefield killer move. It is far easier to deal with this one. That makes sense. Indeed, with a Gu Immortal controlling the battlefield killer move, it could transform and replenish continuously. But a battlefield killer move without any Gu Immortals controlling it is very inflexible. Everyone saw hope and felt joy after hearing Fang Yuan's words. But next, Fang Yuan's words threw them into dejection again. Attacking an unmanned battlefield killer move is relatively simpler. But to me, it is extremely difficult to unravel this current one, there is almost no hope of success. Everyone's expressions crumbled, they cast somewhat unkind gazes towards Fang Yuan. One of the Gu Immortals said agitatedly, Xianxia, you talked a lot of crap, just tell us if you're useless. Speaking like this, are you trying to toy with us? Fang Yuan laughed as he looked at Shark Demon. Shark Demon showed no expression on his face, but it was obvious that his mood was currently terrible. Fang Yuan suddenly stopped his smiling expression, he bowed to Shark Demon as he said solemnly, why would I dare to toy with everyone? I am truly restricted by a lack of resources, if I can refine a wisdom path Immortal Gu, I would have great confidence in unraveling the battlefield killer move unmoving troops for sure. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 9:18, Blazing Heaven Demonis. Chapter 9:18, Blazing Heaven Demonis. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. Shark Sea, Underwater Palace. Delicious delicacies filled the table, the aroma of wine pervaded the air, and the lantern lights shined brightly. In the banquet, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man sat on the main seats, treating two Gu Immortals in the hall with utmost cordiality. These two Gu Immortals were none other than Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng. After they ran into a barrier in Yulu blessed land, and knew that staying longer would be of no use, Shark Demon and the group sensibly retreated. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng had originally intended to leave, but were invited over by Shark Demon and Su Bai Man. This was already the third time Fang Yuan had participated in Shark Demon's shark fishing banquet. Gulping down the fine wine, Shark Demon put down the wine cup and looked at Fang Yuan, suddenly asking, Xianxia, how much assurance do you truly have in unraveling unmoving troops? Fang Yuan thought inwardly, the time has come. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man had been talking about all sorts of irrelevant matters, but he just kept quiet and did not speak about the matter first. Shark Demon finally could not hold it in and spoke about the subject. Fang Yuan immediately replied, Lord Shark Demon, you are also aware of how things stand for me. The wisdom path inheritance I inherited is complete. Moreover, recently, I have comprehended many mysteries, thus I could unravel the battlefield killer move 8 Doors Labyrinth. But up until now, I have been suffering from having no relevant wisdom path Immortal Gu, thus my methods are limited and my capabilities insufficient. If I could refine this wisdom path Immortal Gu, I can definitely unravel unmanned unmoving troops. Tai Bai Yunsheng, who was beside him, also backed him up. I have known Brother Xiang for many years, I know he is not someone who exaggerates or speaks empty words. Since he says he has confidence, then he definitely has confidence. I can guarantee this. Su Bai Man, however, was not satisfied with Tai Bai Yunsheng's guarantee, as she looked at the person in concern, Fang Yuan, and pursued, if you have the wisdom path Immortal Gu, can you guarantee you can unravel that battlefield killer move? Fang Yuan did not answer directly, instead taking a step back in order to advance further, intentionally giving a bitter smile, how can I have complete certainty? This matter concerns Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, one of the 10 supreme experts in history. If something unexpected happens, it would be normal. But for now at least, based on the part that is shown, I am quite confident of unraveling it if I can have the help of the wisdom path Immortal Gu. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man glanced at each other. Although they were angry at Fang Yuan's slippery words, they were moved as well. There was no other way. They had suffered much hardship beforehand. Previously, they had spent a considerable price to invite other Wisdom Path Gu immortals to help, but the outcome was emphatically not ideal. They even lost an Immortal Gu in the end. As for Xianxia, they had cooperated with him many times now, and knew many details about him. More importantly, Fang Yuan had joined Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance, and could be considered a person on the same side. Thus, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man's first choice was Fang Yuan. However, financing Fang Yuan to refine Immortal Gu was difficult as well. The cost of refining Immortal Gu was rather high, while the success rate was too low, and depended on luck. If luck was good, one could refine successfully in the first attempt. Then everything would be a joyous matter. But this situation was very rare. If luck was not good, there was a possibility of always failing. At that time, even if there was a huge pile of immortal essence stones, they would just be wasted with no gains. This was also the reason most Gu immortals would rather capture wild Immortal Gu than to think of refining Immortal Gu themselves. Refining Immortal Gu was difficult. In the present cultivation world, many rank 6 Gu immortals did not have even one Immortal Gu on them, and could only use Mortal Gu to hold their own. Fang Yuan was a special case. He had a lot of Immortal Gu, so many that were they to be exposed, perhaps people would not believe it. However, he had reborn, had fortuitous encounters, taken deadly risks, and faced all sorts of harsh conditions to obtain these Immortal Gu. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man did not know these details, but they were aware of Fang Yuan's intention. Fang Yuan wanted to rely on them to lend him a hand in refining Wisdom Path Immortal Gu. As far as they were concerned, Fang Yuan could not afford this expenditure and had no accumulations to refine Immortal Gu, thus he was making them help him. If it were any other time, Shark Demon would definitely have scoffed and not even given a thought. What a joke! How silly would he be to help others refine Immortal Gu? However, in the current situation, Shark Demon had to request Fang Yuan's help in unraveling the battlefield killer move. Right now, Shark Demon had one question on his mind: was Xianxia fooling them? Was he using this chance to blackmail them, when even without Immortal Gu, he had the ability to unravel this battlefield killer move? Fang Yuan saw Shark Demon's hesitation, but did not speak and only drank the wine. This moment in time was just perfect. Fang Yuan had confidence. Previously, the timing was wrong. Now Yulu blessed land was laid out in front of them like a juicy piece of meat dangling in the air, tempting Shark Demon. This had indeed done a great favor to Fang Yuan. As long as they completely dismantled unmoving troops, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man would gain lots of benefits, obtaining hundreds of times what they had invested. Naturally, with Fang Yuan's personality, he had already thought of devouring these alone, and backstabbing them. However, his strength was not enough to beat even just Shark Demon. Shark Demon was a veteran rank 7 immortal zombie. Although Fang Yuan had rank 7 battle strength, it was not outstanding among rank 7 Gu immortals. But this was already quite good. After all, Fang Yuan's cultivation was only at the bottom tier of rank 6. Fang Yuan could not defeat even Shark Demon, let alone when there were Su Bai Man other Gu immortals as well. As for Zombie Alliance behind Shark Demon, there was even less need to mention them. For a colossal force like Zombie Alliance, Fang Yuan was just a rat running across the street. Fang Yuan was rational and calm, and knew his own limits. He had observed and evaluated the situation before he joined this expedition, in order to get a share of the profits and extract the greatest benefits for himself. When Fang Yuan drank the third cup of wine, Shark Demon and Su Bai Man had already finished their secret discussion. They quickly reached a consensus. They decided to aid Fang Yuan financially and help him refine Wisdom Path Immortal Gu. Even if it was Fang Yuan blackmailing them, they had no choice but to settle for it. They did not even force Fang Yuan to make an oath or use Gu worms to probe out his true thoughts. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man were, naturally, not foolish. Besides urgently needing Fang Yuan's help for this final important hurdle, they also had another intention. That was to improve their relationship with Fang Yuan. After all, the wisdom path potential Fang Yuan showed was already worth it for them to make an investment. Wisdom path Gu immortals were rare, having a friendship with a wisdom path Gu immortal was very precious. However, just as Shark Demon was about to reply, there was suddenly a change. The immense sea shook intensely, thunder crackled, and countless chaotic sea currents pressed on towards the underwater palace. Immediately, a piercing fire pillar shot down from outside the sea, directly striking at Shark Demon's underwater palace with shocking might. Rumble. A loud sound reverberated through the area, and the magnificent underwater palace shined with the radiance of a defensive Gu formation. However, the light could not last for even a breath of time before it was torn apart by the fire pillar. In an instant, stones and bricks broke and flew in all directions, the palace turned into ruins, the fire kept on burning and was actually not extinguished by the sea. The extremely pleasant banquet had now thoroughly ended, as the endless sea water surged in, sweeping away all the furnishings and the delicacies of the banquet, and soon submerged Fang Yuan and the group. However, the four were all Gu immortals, and had no problem staying in this depth of the sea. Shark Demon was an immortal zombie, and did not need to breathe in the sea. He was dazed for a moment before suddenly standing up and looked at the sky above the sea, shouting in fury, "Such audacity! Who dares to attack my sea area?" Su Bai Man also stood beside Shark Demon, similarly gazing up, her expression pale. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing glanced at each other, puzzled. Shark Demon had outstanding strength, and with Su Bai Man accompanying him everywhere, they could advance or retreat easily. Such a duo was already extremely dangerous to provoke. More importantly, there was also Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance behind them. Eastern Sea Zombie Alliance was the main headquarters of the zombie alliances over the 5 regions. They were a colossal force, a level stronger than even super forces, and could even be called an overlord of the Eastern Sea cultivation world. Who is it that came to attack Zombie Alliance's Shark Demon? Ha ha ha. Shark Demon had just shouted, when a voice resounded in everyone's ears, "This is only a small appetizer, I am not only going to destroy your palace, I will also beat you low-life lovers till you can't even stand up." The voice was extremely arrogant and domineering, moreover from the voice, it was a female immortal. "It's her," Su Bai Man said, her eyes widened, showing a clearly surprised and grave look. A bright red figure descended from the sky, pressing down into the sea and towards the 4 on the seabed. Fang Yuan gazed above at this female immortal and saw she was descending extremely fast. Her whole body was blazing with fire which swayed in the water. As for her true appearance, it was hidden in the flames and could not be seen clearly. This surging aura, a rank 8 Gu immortal. Tai Bai Yunxing blurted. Fang Yuan narrowed his eyes, adding a sentence inwardly, more precisely, "This is a rank 8 female immortal zombie." Immediately, Shark Demon shouted out the female immortal's identity. "Blazing Heaven Demonis, have you gone crazy? You dare to attack a person belonging to Zombie Alliance like you? You are challenging Zombie Alliance's authority, and will definitely be severely punished." Blazing Heaven Demonis. Fang Yuan's eyes brightened, as he recalled that he had heard this name before. This name was a famous one. Blazing Heaven Demonis, a rank 8 Gu immortal. She was from Northern Plains, the leader of the Northern Plains Zombie Alliance branch. After Fang Yuan had infiltrated into Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, he had heard other members mention and talk of her many times, praising and revering Blazing Heaven Demonis' formidable strength and domineering style. Fang Yuan had not expected to see such a person in this way. Blazing Heaven Demonis, who was covered in fire, laughed loudly, "Shark Demon, don't talk nonsense. The matter between us is an internal conflict between Zombie Alliance members. Speak. What are you trying to do by stealing my immortal material?" Su Bai Man was just about to question Blazing Heaven Demonis, but had not expected Blazing Heaven Demonis to blame them first. Shark Demon shouted, "Nonsense. When did I steal your immortal material? If you want to frame me, go find a better reason. These last days, I have only been paying attention to doing the assignment of Zombie Alliance, invading Yulu Blessed Land, when would I have the time to steal your immortal material? You are just trying to start a quarrel. Blazing Heaven Demoness, however, was not flustered, instead confidently laughing, ha ha ha, I came here with a witness. Shark Demon, you won't be able to deny it. Shark Demon was so furious that he laughed, good, good, let me see what witness you have. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 919, Angry Bird. Chapter 919, Angry Bird. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. In the sea and under the water, the two sides were in a stalemate, it was a tense atmosphere. A moment ago, Fang Yuan was still enjoying a banquet with Shark Demon and his wife, having a joyous time. But at the next moment, they were attacked, the entire underwater palace of Shark Demon was turned into rubble. As the saying goes, while a person stays in their house, calamity descends from the sky. Fang Yuan looked at Tai Bai Yun Sheng as the latter transmitted, Blazing Heaven Demoness is a rank 8 grade expert, she is not someone we can fight. Fang Yuan nodded inconspicuously, he understood Tai Bai Yun Sheng's intention, that was to sit and watch. At Gu Immortal level, the higher the rank, the greater the difference between them. Even if Fang Yuan, Tai Bai Yun Sheng, Shark Demon, and Su Bai Man collaborated and worked together sincerely, they might not be able to hold off Blazing Heaven Demoness over multiple rounds even if they disregarded the cost. This was an absolutely powerful foe. Normally, only rank 8 Gu Immortals could fight other rank 8s. Shark Demon also knew this, thus, even though his house was destroyed, he did not dare to fight Blazing Heaven Demoness head-on. With Shark Demon's temper, if his house was destroyed, he would burst into anger and attack. But because it was Blazing Heaven Demoness, a rank 8 Gu Immortal, he had to control himself even if he was angry. He knew he was not a match for the rank 8 Gu Immortal, the best way to solve this problem now was to use Zombie Alliance's rules and negotiate with her. Blazing Heaven Demoness had gone against the rules of Zombie Alliance, she was finding problems with an ally, how could that be allowed? Such blatant attacks are simply giving no regard to Zombie Alliance. But Blazing Heaven Demoness smiled confidently, like she had already won, Shark Demon, isn't it simple to justify my actions? Bo Dan, come out. Blazing Heaven Demoness called. Gu Immortal Bo Dan stood out from behind Blazing Heaven Demoness. He lowered his head, his expression was bitter as he bowed deeply, Lord Shark Demon, Lady Su Bai Man, I was forced against my will. Seeing Bo Dan, Shark Demon's expression turned dark. His wife Su Bai Man also snorted coldly, she had an idea of what Blazing Heaven Demoness' plan was. As expected, at the next moment, everyone heard Blazing Heaven Demoness scream, Shark Demon, Su Bai Man, the two of you instructed Bo Dan to steal my rank 8 immortal material, Medicine Ice. I was in closed cultivation and was careless, the two of you actually succeeded. Today, I am here to seek justice. As it turned out, Bo Dan was quite pitiful, even though he was alive, he had no choice but to join Zombie Alliance. Just earlier, his private sea area was taken over by Blazing Heaven Demoness using brute force. Fang Yuan entered Eastern Sea using Xianxia's identity and joined Shark Demon in the invasion of Yu Lu Blessed Land. Bo Dan was a half-baked wisdom path Gu Immortal, his skill was lacking, he was schemed against by Fang Yuan. To protect his status, he had to bribe Su Bai Man and give her the rank 8 immortal material Medicine Ice, so that Su Bai Man would defend him. But Bo Dan was still too incapable, he and Shark Demon slowly became estranged. Bo Dan was left with no choice, he attempted to use Zombie Alliance to exert pressure on Blazing Heaven Demoness, so that she would return him his private sea area. However, he was only rank 6, while Blazing Heaven Demoness was a rank 8 grade expert. As the leader of Northern Plains Zombie Alliance, she was a higher-up. Even though Zombie Alliance received Bo Dan's plea and complaint, they dragged out his request and tried to stall for time. How could they offend the powerful Blazing Heaven Demoness for this mere Bo Dan? Thus, Bo Dan's situation became increasingly pathetic, until Fang Yuan unraveled the battlefield killer move 8 Doors Labyrinth and obtained a huge breakthrough in the invasion of Yu Lu Blessed Land. Ever since Shark Demon invaded Yu Lu Blessed Land, he had been receiving heavy attention. Seeing that Ulu blessed land was about to be taken down, with such great benefits, Blazing Heaven Demoness' greed was stirred. Even though Blazing Heaven Demoness had incredible cultivation level, she was superior to them and had great strength, but she could not forcefully take over the fruits of the labor of Ulu blessed land. After all, this was Eastern Sea, not Northern Plains. This was the Zombie Alliance headquarters, not her Northern Plains branch. Since she was a member of Zombie Alliance, she could not break the rules. Thus, she sent Bo Dan a message, lying that she would return him his private sea area and would compensate him. Bo Dan had no long-term accommodation. As he was wandering about, he received this news and was overjoyed. In the end, when he returned, he was forced by Blazing Heaven Demoness to frame Shark Demon and sue by man. Bo Dan did not dare to offend Blazing Heaven Demoness, but he also did not dare to offend Shark Demon and sue by man. He realized that he had fallen into a trap and was in deep regret, but now that he was in Blazing Heaven Demoness' hands, he had no choice left. In the end, he was captured by Blazing Heaven Demoness and was brought to attack Shark Demon's underwater palace. Shark Demon's gaze moved from Bo Dan to Blazing Heaven Demoness. He knew that Bo Dan was just a minor character, he was not crucial. This accusation would not hold up against any investigations. Shark Demon held in the anger inside him as he sneered at Blazing Heaven Demoness. Blazing Heaven Demoness, just say it if you want to pick the fruits, why must you implicate an innocent person? Sue by man followed. Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, you are a rank 8 grade expert, aren't your current actions too ugly? Blazing Heaven Demoness laughed loudly. She naturally knew that this excuse was weak. But that did not matter. She just needed a cover, just an excuse would do. This excuse was only used to respond to Zombie Alliance's headquarters, it could not force Shark Demon and his wife to obey her. To force Shark Demon and his wife, what was needed was not an excuse, but strength. Thus, she came here personally with overflowing battle intent, she was here to find trouble with them. Ha ha ha. Blazing Heaven Demoness' laughter stopped, her eyes shined with brilliance as she looked at the sea, suddenly saying, 3 moves. What? Sue by man was shocked. I will finish you off in 3 moves. If you can block 3 moves of mine, I will pretend I was never here. Blazing Heaven Demoness said sternly. Shark Demon and Sue by man looked at each other, the former let out a breath of turbid air and agreed, all right. Let the 4 of us experience your power. Blazing Heaven Demoness' 3 moves agreement made Shark Demon see some hope. Of course, the most important reason was that they were helpless in this situation. He had to agree regardless of his wishes. Weaklings had no choices in the first place. Tai Bai Yunxing frowned slightly, he did not want to take action, but Shark Demon was crafty, with a few words he directly included Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing on his side, against Blazing Heaven Demoness. Fang Yuan was calm, showing no change of expression. Sue by man transmitted to them, if we can survive this ordeal, both of us will owe you a favor, as for compensation, we will pay you a sum that is sure to satisfy you. We hope that both of you can support us. Don't worry, we will do our best. Fang Yuan transmitted in return. In his mind, he had made his decision, he would just pretend to exert effort, only an idiot would help in such a dangerous and pointless request. Sue by man nodded at Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing, showing a hint of gratitude in her gaze. I am a wisdom path Gu immortal, while Tai Bai Yunxing is skilled at healing, even if we perform badly later, we have sufficient reasons to justify ourselves. Fang Yuan stood out, standing with Shark Demon and Sue by man, facing Blazing Heaven Demoness who was at the surface of the sea. Tai Bai Yunxing sighed internally, standing beside Fang Yuan. Blazing Heaven Demoness laughed lightly, with a look of nonchalance. She stretched out her hand, opening her 5 fingers. Suddenly, with a soft sound, an orange-yellow flame appeared in her hand. Blazing Heaven Demoness moved her fingers, rubbing the orange-yellow flame. This lump of flame was extraordinary, it was very elastic. Blazing Heaven Demoness squeezed it as if she was squeezing a meatball. After a few breaths of time, the orange-yellow flame gradually formed into the appearance of a bird. Blazing Heaven Demoness opened her hand as the fire bird jumped up from her palm, flapping its wings and chirping, happily fluttering around Blazing Heaven Demoness. Blazing Heaven Demoness toyed around with the fire bird, not attacking, as if she had forgotten the agreement of 3 moves. But be it Shark Demon, Su Bai Man, Fang Yuan or Tai Bai Yun Sheng, they showed extremely ugly expressions. This fire bird had a cute appearance, but it was terrifyingly powerful in the eyes of the 4 Gu immortals. Once released, it would unleash shocking might. Not just this underwater palace, the rest of this shark sea, countless living beings in a huge surrounding area of water might be exterminated by a single blow. A rank 8 Gu immortal cannot be blocked by rank 6 or rank 7 Gu immortals. The agreement of 3 moves was just a joke. Just this one attack, Shark Demon and the rest could not defend against it. Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, may I know what is the name of this move? Shark Demon asked after a while. He spoke in a dispirited tone with a hint of hoarseness in his voice. Blazing Heaven Demoness smiled lightly. Hundreds of years ago, I was careless when cultivating and flames of anger were burning my heart, I almost lost my life. When I was recovering, I had an inspiration and created this rank 8 level killer move. I named it, Angry Bird. Angry Bird? This joke-like name made Shark Demon feel some shock and also bitterness. Undeniably, Blazing Heaven Demoness was doing this on purpose. She wanted to display overwhelming strength to force Shark Demon to surrender. This was a very crude method, but Blazing Heaven Demoness was too overbearing. She was straightforward and had incredible cultivation level. With her battle strength, it was an effective plan. With just one move, Fang Yuan and the others had given up. Only Shark Demon was still hanging on. He said to the rest of them, "You 3, retreat first, I will handle this move." Before Fang Yuan and the others replied, Shark Demon took one step forward and said, "Angry Bird, it is a good move, Lady Blazing Heaven Demoness, please attack." Blazing Heaven Demoness was shocked. She squinted as she asked in suspicion, "Are you sure you want to face this move? Let's retreat." Su Bai Man's eyes shined with brilliance. She spoke to Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng. Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng were surprised. Blazing Heaven Demoness' move was incredibly powerful. There was no hope even if the 4 of them collaborated. Right now, Shark Demon was facing her alone. Not only did he not want other people's help, even his wife Su Bai Man had such confidence in him. What was he relying on? "Alright, I want to see what is giving you courage." Blazing Heaven Demoness no longer hesitated. At her will, the angry bird tore through the water, shooting towards Shark Demon. But when it got to the bottom of the sea, a strong aura burst out, contesting Blazing Heaven Demoness equally. Shark Demon showed a smiling expression, like his plan had succeeded. Far away, Su Bai Man let out a sigh of relief. She explained to Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yun Sheng, "Back then, we chose this location to build our underwater palace. We naturally had our reasons. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 920, Immemorial Desolate Beast, One Finger Flow Shark. Chapter 920, Immemorial Desolate Beast, One Finger Flow Shark. Translator. Atlas Studios. Editor. Atlas Studios. A surging, vast aura. Everyone's gazes were attracted to it. The sea became turbulent and tides started to rise. Countless undercurrents formed in the seabed and moved rapidly while intertwined together, like countless giant dragons or pythons. Undercurrent vortex started forming and continued to increase in numbers sharply. Soon, the dangerous vortexes numbered to thousands, filling this sea area. "This is..." Tai Bai Yun Sheng was startled. "Immemorial Desolate Beast." Fang Yuan's eyes brightened. "Ordinary wild beasts, 100 beast kings, 1,000 beast kings, myriad beast kings, beast emperors, desolate beasts, ancient desolate beasts, immemorial desolate beasts. Among them, immemorial desolate beasts were powerful existences comparable to rank 8 Gu immortals." Shark Demon and Su Bai Man stared fixedly at the center of this aura. there, the form of the immemorial desolate beast was gradually revealed. The state of the enemy was unknown. Blazing Heaven Demoness also had no choice but to stop her attacks for the moment, recalling the small fire bird to her side. The sea tides rose and fell along with the rough waves. The surface of the sea became dangerous while the undercurrents flowed chaotically inside the sea. Several breaths later, the mysterious immemorial desolate beast's true appearance was completely revealed. This formidable immemorial desolate beast was unimaginably small and dainty-looking. It was so small that it was actually the size of an adult's finger. This was a shark. An extremely exquisite and cute shark. The size of an adult's index finger. Its whole body was shining with silver light. This light was not dazzling but mild, like a silk cloth that gently covered the small shark. Such a formidable aura, yet its body is like this. Tai Bai Yunxing sighed, having a strange expression at this sight. Blazing Heaven Demoness, however, showed a trace of seriousness. The small shark ignored Fang Yuan, Shark Demon, and the rest behind it. From the start, its two eyes had been gazing at Blazing Heaven Demoness, revealing intense enmity. Shark Demon let out a breath, and transmitted his voice to Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing. My plan has fortunately succeeded, don't underestimate this small shark. It is a one-finger flow shark. This is a one-finger flow shark. Tai Bai Yunxing looked surprised and shocked. Ordinary Gu immortals would not know of the one-finger flow shark, but as a time path Gu immortal, Tai Bai Yunxing had long since heard of its name. In fact, almost all time path Gu immortals knew a mnemonic, one-finger flow shark, an instance of brilliance. Flowing water and clear voice, heaven is impartial. It was no exaggeration to say that the one-finger flow shark was known widely because of the mnemonic. It was a rank 8 time path desolate beast, bearing extremely large amounts of time path Dao marks, thus it could swim in the river of time with its physical body. The one-finger flow shark normally hides in the river of time and does not reveal itself. The two of us also found its tracks by chance. Later, we intentionally requested for this sea area from Zombie Alliance, and built this shark sea. Shark Demon continued to explain to Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing. Blazing Heaven Demonist suddenly chuckled, so it was like that, no wonder you two stopped at no expense to exchange for an immortal killer move of the enslavement path Grandmaster, 180 slaves, from Zombie Alliance, lower controls higher. It was to use this enslavement path killer move to subdue this one-finger flow shark, right? Enslavement path had always been about enslaving higher beasts to control lower. For instance, back when Fang Yuan was in Northern Plains, using Wolf King Chang Shan Yin's identity to participate in the contest of the Imperial Court, he had used myriad beast kings, 1,000 beast kings and so on to indirectly control the whole wolf army. After all, one had a limited soul foundation, enslavement path Gu masters could not directly control all the wild beasts. The larger the scale of the beast group, the weaker the controlling power of the enslavement path Gu master would be, the more their soul would have to endure and the less capable they would be in displaying skillful control. But this was not absolute. Gu are the essence of heaven and earth, man is the spirit of all living beings. The wisdom of humans was undoubtedly at the top of all living beings. In the long history of Gu cultivation, there once appeared an enslavement path grandmaster. He had a rough childhood, being born as a slave, and thus had very meager status. He used all the opportunities he obtained and took risks, continuously maturing and finally climbing to the pinnacle. He was 180 slaves. A generation's genius. Normal enslavement path methods were to use those of higher status to rule over lower status. But he did the opposite, using beasts of lower status to rule over those of a higher status. This was not without reason. For instance, an emperor was the ruler, wielding absolute power, sitting high above. But sometimes, when the people are united and of one mind, the emperor would also be trapped by the people's will, and would be forced to do things against their own will. Facing Blazing Heaven Demonist speculation, Shark Demon nodded and frankly admitted, "You guessed right, that is the case. I have been constantly managing the shark groups in this sea area. It is to use these shark groups to subdue the one-finger flow shark." Unfortunately, my enslavement path attainment is insufficient and I also don't have the immortal Gu forming the killer move lower controls higher, thus, I haven't succeeded until now. Hearing this, Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng could not help but glance at each other. Shark Demon had a huge target, his ambition truly was not small. He was only a rank 7 immortal zombie, but wanted to subdue an immemorial desolate beast. Those able to advance to Gu immortals indeed were not simple. If he truly succeeded and had such an aid, Shark Demon could be considered half a rank 8 Gu immortal. His status would immediately rise, with fame and benefits flowing in rapidly. Currently, he might not have succeeded, but he had made some achievements. At the least, after this one-finger flow shark appeared, it had not cared about Shark Demon's side, and instead directed all its hatred and anger to blazing heaven demoness. Shark Demon continued, moreover, this one-finger flow shark is not only an immemorial desolate beast, it also contains several time path immortal Gu. The intention of his words was to make blazing heaven demoness aware of what she was dealing with and make her retreat. This was not revealing information. The one-finger flow shark's body was overflowing with the aura of immortal Gu without being concealed. Even Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunsheng could clearly feel it, let alone the rank 8 immortal zombie blazing heaven demoness. It is rumored that the river of time is home to countless time path Gu worms. The one-finger flow shark can freely move around in the river of time, thus having immortal Gu is not strange. Tai Bai Yunsheng whispered to Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan thought of Red Lotus Demon Venerable's inheritance. He had to move deep into the river of time to obtain Red Lotus Demon Venerable's inheritance. Maybe he could rely on the one-finger flow shark's ability. The one-finger flow shark was extremely rare, and there were probably not many even in the river of time. To put it in other words, this was a major opportunity that could not be sought out and only found through chance. No wonder Shark Demon and Su Bai Man stopped at no expense, spending endless time and energy to obtain the one-finger flow shark. Ha ha ha. Shark Demon's words made blazing heaven demoness laugh loudly, listening to what you say makes my urge to strike even stronger. Shark Demon. You want to rely on an outside force to make me retreat? To win without fighting? Hee hee, wishful thinking. The moment she finished speaking, blazing heaven demoness pointed with her finger. The small fire bird perched on her shoulder suddenly moved, flying straight towards Shark Demon's direction. It's coming. Shark Demon, Fang Yuan and the rest felt their hearts chill, their whole body turned tense as they became extremely vigilant. The fire bird seemed harmless but in truth, its power was vast and extraordinary. However, at this moment, the one-finger flow shark suddenly moved, resembling a silver firefly as it pounced at the fire bird. The two were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, had already collided in the sea. There was no sound and there was no explosion. The instant they collided, a strange thing occurred. Both sides, which were extremely fast, suddenly stilled. Turning from extreme speed to extreme stillness, at that instant, the one-finger flow shark and the small fire bird seemed to have transformed into a painting. Such a transformation gave the spectators a feeling of being too abrupt. Shortly, Fang Yuan and the rest saw the one-finger flow shark slowly move, using its exquisite nose to lightly poke the small fire bird. Afterwards, the one-finger flow shark made an extremely elegant motion, its whole body leaped over the small fire bird and continued to swiftly move ahead. In the blink of an eye, the stillness ended. The speeds of the one-finger flow shark and the small fire bird were restored. However, the former had already moved past the small fire bird and was charging towards blazing heaven demoness, while the small fire bird was moving towards Shark Demon and the rest of the group. Shark Demon and Su Bai Man were already extremely alert, and when they saw the small bird nearing them, they held their breaths, preparing to contend with it. Fang Yuan was almost about to pull away and retreat, but right at this moment, the small fire bird suddenly flapped its wings and drew an arc as it turned around, chasing after the one-finger flow shark. Such nimbleness! Shark Demon was able to avoid this confrontation, but he was instead pale from shock. This small fire bird can move smoothly according to the controller's thoughts. It seems it is not a simple fire path killer move, there are definitely wisdom path methods mixed in it. Fong Yuan analyzed rapidly. That scene just now should be because a certain time path immortal Gu in the one-finger flow shark activated. This immortal Gu can cause the flow of time in a certain range to become extremely slow. It seemed like the two turned from extreme speed to almost complete stillness, but their speed had actually not changed. Tai Bai Yunxing quickly said. Su Bai Man nodded and added, not only that. When the one-finger flow shark poked the fire bird's body, the immortal Gu's aura had changed again. It should be the activation of the second time path immortal Gu, it is just that its effect is unclear. The moment she finished speaking, the effect showed up. Blazing Heaven Demoness expression suddenly changed, because the small fire bird chasing the one-finger flow shark, had suddenly detonated. Boom! Like a crack of thunder resounded over the area. Flames accompanied the surging blast, as it ferociously spread everywhere. In an instant, an immense quantity of sea water evaporated and countless lives were lost. A hemispherical crater formed over the whole sea. When the fire bird had detonated, it had already flown out of the sea, but the bottom of the crater had unexpectedly touched the soil of the seabed. Next, the surrounding seawater surged in to fill the gap. Swoosh! Tides surged, and huge waves stirred up in the sea. The soil on the seabed rolled and mixed in with the water, making visibility extremely poor. Fong Yuan and the rest were in a rather miserable state. They had no choice but to fly out of the sea and float in the sky as they continued to watch the battle. They saw the one-finger flow shark shoot directly towards Blazing Heaven Demoness' face like a silver arrow. Blazing Heaven Demoness' expression became more focused. How would she dare to take it head-on? Man is the spirit of all living beings. This phrase was not false, but when strength, recovery, speed and so on were compared, humans were not outstanding among the endless living beings. Even after becoming Gu immortals, they usually could not compare to desolate beasts. The one-finger flow shark was small, but it was an immemorial desolate beast. Its small body concealed incomparably frightening brute strength. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report chapter so we can fix it as soon as possible.